We're going to shift things a little bit. I want to chat parenting. I've had parents approach me about how best, to support kids coming out. So I want to talk about what modern parenting actually looks like and the joys and challenges facing parents. Syrus, as a parent of a young child, I'd love to know what your thoughts are.
I mean, first of all, it is amazing being a parent. I'm a trans parent. I'm a queer parent.
Yes.
I'm so thankful to be a parent. I love my child. I love parenting. It's the best. It's the joy of my life. As good as being queer, which is also the joy of my life. And I think that what we're looking for now is we're working to build a world where there's a safe place for our children, for queer and trans children who are coming out. We know that there's still transphobia. Our kids can't even go to the bathroom in some places because of bathroom laws and stuff like that. So queer and trans kids need our support now more than ever. They need stability. They need consistent love and care and support. They need resources that are designed for them, community supports. And they need to know that there's a community around them, loving them, cherishing them. I have a transgender nephew. I have a queer niece, and I'm rooting for them. They're just starting their teenage years, and I want them to have all the joy in the world.
I love that. Biko.
Well, I don't have biological children. However, I do have, all through the years, have collected a string of chosen families, and some of them include my children who are chosen. And then I also, so as a parent to kids, I like to lead by example in the sense that when you look at a happy trans kid who's out, the one thing they all have in common is they have good parents, That's what, as a trans person and senior trans person, we know, and we see trans kids today, and we're just blown away by the type of good parenting. So for me, as someone who is a community leader and sometimes a mother figure to many, the example I like to give is to think about what kind of love I would have wanted for myself as a kid, and then go ahead and give that out to the people who look up to you, to the people who admire you, because at the end of the day, we're all connected. The children are the future. And to be honest, we live in Canada. We need to love every single Canadian, because in my Canada, equality is for everyone, not just for some.
I love that, and what you said about chosen family, and that a family is not necessarily biological. Rachel, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the joys and challenges of parenting.
Sure. I have an older child. I know that Syrus has a younger one. I have a 17-year-old, and it is a joy. It is. It's an amazing thing to be a parent. I also recognize the fact that it wasn't so long ago that many of us had our kids taken away from us. It was really hard for us to create the kind of families that were protected in the way that we wanted. And I think that, for me, there's the regular joys of parenting, just loving this person and getting to watch them grow. But I also think, to pick up on something that Biko said, I think one of the great things that that we can do as a community, I think, is to parent and care for the queer and trans kids that aren't our own children, to help advocate for them, to create space for them, to be visible in our communities so that young folks can see all of us and realize that they're okay and that they're safe. And I think that, that is the meaning of chosen family, that it's not necessarily a family in a traditional form, and it doesn't have to look like that. It can be something much more expansive, much more liberating, and hopefully, much safer than I think many of our families of origin have been for a lot of us.
Syrus, I'd love to go back to you for a second, because you do have a little one. I'd love to, give the last word here on some of the challenges coming up. As you know, maybe it's going to look a lot different in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a trans person, even the process of trying to get pregnant with my daughter was such a complicated thing. You know, the world only thinks about pregnancy in relation to women. They don't recognize that trans men have kids too and get pregnant too. So, you know, that's a challenge that we have to face. I think that, you know, I really want to just give a huge shout out of love and respect to all the trans parents out there. Trans people were prevented from having children for decades. You know, we were actually actively encouraged to not have children because of systemic transphobia. And so I'm so thankful to be in a community now that is thriving, where there's trans parents, queer parents, there's drop-ins, there's all sorts of programming that celebrates and loves our children, and our children get to thrive. My daughter is an activist. She's 8 years old. She's a little activist. She says from when she was 3 years old, she would say, "Trans people are people." You know, like she was fighting for trans people even at a really young age, and I think that's such a beautiful thing.
I love that so much. And I mean, chosen or biological, anyone who is associated with you as parents are certainly lucky ducks.